Hi everyone, welcome to another video of World of Engineering. Today I'm going to go through Hioki data logger and go through a few of functionalities, how to set it up and what to expect. This is the the model is a MR8880-20 which is a very rugged design, and it's designed for the field. It has four. In my previous video I explained briefly unboxing it. It has 4 isolated channels and 8 logic inputs. I'm going to turn it on, see what we get. Okay, so that's the display. It comes up when you turn it on. So as you can see, on top you have 6 tabs: setting, CH channel, all channel, trigger, comments, system. Let's just start with setting. Let's say if you want to do some measurements using connecting some CTs. What I have here, it's a Hioki CT which I purchased with these. You want to connect these and measure some battery discharging. For this, what I'm going to do, first thing you need to do in here, you have to select, use the navigation button, these, to go on top of this little icon. It says real time or high speed. You have to make sure you're on real time, because high speed, if you select high speed, your menu here will change, and that's when you're looking for spikes and any sort of dips or these sort of fast things. And the meter can be used as an oscilloscope in that case. Oscilloscope. So let's go to real time and start setting up the equipment. So what we have here, the interval, starting from there, that's what's flashing. That's the basically recording interval. How fast you will, what's the sampling period. And the good thing about this model Hioki is when you move with this navigation button on the bottom, wherever you go, here it as you can see, your text, it tells you briefly what that button does. So let's go in interval. You can see it gives you some information. You can select anything as fast as 100 microsecond to as slow as 1 minute. Let's start it with 1 minute. The next thing is time per division. As you can see, the time per division will change, the settings here, as you change the interval. And that's because you require two points at least to draw a line. So if your interval is 1 minute of data recording, your time per division has to be at least 2 minutes per division. And subsequently, if that is 30 seconds, your minimum time per division is 1 minute. Okay, let's go back to 1 minute and time per division, which is that horizontal axis. And basically that defines your resolution, how fast you want to measure the current. You don't want it to be super fast. Let's say 2 minutes per division. And next thing is which is continuous. If you have it on, that means it will, when you press the start button, it will start continuously record. But if you change that to off, it gives you all this record time. So you have to make sure you set this value here. So how long you want it to record. I'm gonna tell it to record for, what you do, just enter and then select. I'm gonna select 4 hours. No, 14. 4 hours, and it tells me it will be 243 data points, and it also tells me the maximum recording I can do. Okay, let's move on. Repeat. If you have it on single, that means this will do this 4 hours and stops. You can select single, repeat. Next is the format. Options you have, it's dual and quad, and that's your about waveform display. Have it on single. Envelope. You have the envelope on when you're expecting some oscillation or spikes in the waveform and you want to capture those. An envelope will give you the minimum maximum if you select it. So we have it on off. And then the next option here, turn it off, is the numerical calculation. So if you want to know, now currently we are in real time, as I mentioned here, and some will be instantaneous values. But this meter can do numerical calculation. That is 4 calculation at the same time. I'm going to tell it you can do all these calculation part, peak to peak and maximum minimum. Okay. So I'm going to select average. I want, or let's say a maximum. So calculate maximum and do the calculation only on channel 1. I can select all channels, or I'll select channel 1. Don't worry about the rest of calculations. So that's this. Let's go to this part. It says the setting. All these settings that I do, I can save them in my wherever I want. Actually, I can save it in my CF card or a USB stick that I can put on this right side here. So later on you can just select CF and select save all these settings, and later on you can come and load it. So you only need to do that once. Do this. Next thing which is very important is the real-time saving. So what format you want to save your data in. If I go there and select it, you can have the real-time waveform. What I would recommend is CSV and Calc. So with CSV you can import it to Excel, and also you want the calculation. Well, bear in mind, if you select that, that means you're capturing a lot of data. So in fast, if the interval is very short, let's say that will be limited. I think from 100 microsecond, the minimum becomes to probably 5 milliseconds or something. And select the file name and media. So you can tell it where to save. I selected CF because I got a CF card in here. Okay. Don't worry about the rest of these. Don't need to touch those. Keep it on off. And you can use these navigation buttons to move the cursor and move it to these tabs. For example, if I go up, it's in the tab, you can change these tabs. Or I can use this shortcut. It says set and switch between tabs. So we were on setting. Let's move on to channel. Pressing set. In here it would show you settings of each channel. You can select it, but you don't need to worry about this. What you can do, you can quickly just move on to the next tab, which says all channel. You see all channels and all the settings. As it says in the first square, the range. it says channel 1 is off. Simply you can go on top of it and press enter. Now it's on, off. So I turned on channel 2. It's instantaneous. Don't worry about the range because you can give it a scaling. So the rest of channels are off. Now let's go to scaling. In scaling, you can select the des, which is like decimal values, and then from here you can select different options. You select model, and then in here you will select the equipment you connected to it. And as I said, we want to measure current, and it says CT9692. This is the CT we are using, CT9692, and obviously it's 200 amp. There are two options here, a 200 amp or 20 amp. I'm going to select 20 amp because I'm not expecting it to get more than 20. So with that CT comes with this sensor unit, which tells you, is it like a guide, tells you if you have 9692. If you press this button L, which stands for low, that's your range, 20 amp. And make sure when you connect these sensor and CT to the meter, it is 0, because we are talking millivolt. It has to be 0. Maybe 1 millivolt up and down, and that's about it. Okay, so I'm going to select 20 amp, and this will do the range. In here you can even change the colors. Let's select. Oh, there's another yellow there already. That's red. Let's switch to the next tab. That's for triggering. Triggering only can be used. You can have external trigger or internal trigger by having a rise or falling trigger, which we don't need for this recording. Let's turn it off. Move to next. That is extremely important. The comments, you have to correctly name your files. That means mention the location. Let's say power station X, battery A, and also you have to name your channel. Channel 1, you say positive bank B, or for channel 2 you can say like AC output or something like that. Or even the cable numbers, you can use the wire numbers for channels, which is a lot better idea. Move on to system. That's another important settings, which is your system settings. Start backup, I would keep it on because when your unit is disturbed, has power disturbance, and the battery is dead, it will stop the obviously recording. But if the power back comes back, it will start the recording again. So if you have that on, that will happen. File protection, keep it on low. That's for, even that's still in another case of power loss and while you're saving. It's not very important. Backlight, keep it off. Backlight saver, 100%. Make it white or black. And another important thing is the clock setting. Make sure the time is correct. Initialization, we press that will bring over the setting to factory and initial setting, factory settings. You want to do that. Another handy point is this self-test. With self-test, you can pretty much test everything from keyboard of this. If you suspect that something doesn't work, to the LCD and the memory stick and CF card. And yeah, that's about it. Make sure you check out my other videos, and if you have any question, leave it in comments. Thanks.